Kyle Martinez was drinking his morning coffee when the first alien ship appeared over New York City. He almost dropped his cup when the alarm siren started screaming through the orbital station New Horizon. Kyle had been an admiral in the United Earth Defense Force for 15 years. He had seen meteor strikes, solar flares, and space pirates, but he had never seen anything like the massive black ship that hung in the sky like a dark cloud over Manhattan. "Admiral, we have multiple contacts," said Lieutenant Maya Johnson from her communications station. Her voice was steady, but Kyle could hear the fear underneath. 12 ships total. They're positioned over every major city on Earth. Kyle set down his coffee and walked to the main viewing screen. The alien ship was enormous. It was at least 10 miles long and covered in strange purple lights. Kyle had studied every human spaceship ever built. This thing made their biggest battleships look like toys. "Any response to our communication attempts?" Kyle asked. "Nothing, sir," Maya replied. "We've tried every frequency. They're just sitting there." Dr. Lisa Chang rushed onto the bridge. She was the station's chief scientist and the Earth's leading expert on alien life. Not that anyone had ever found any aliens before today. "Admiral, I've been analyzing their ship design," Lisa said, holding up her tablet. "The energy readings are incredible. Their power source is at least 100 times stronger than our fusion reactors." Kyle nodded grimly. "Can we hurt them?" Lisa shook her head. "I don't think our weapons would even scratch their hull." Captain Tony Blake burst through the bridge doors. Tony led the station's fighter squadron and was known for never backing down from a fight. Today, even Tony looked worried. "Admiral, my pilots are ready to launch," Tony said. "Just give the word." "Hold position, Captain," Kyle replied. "Let's try to talk first." Kyle straightened his uniform and walked to the communication station. He activated the main broadcast channel that would send his message to every radio, television, and internet connection on Earth and in space. "This is Admiral Kyle Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force," he said clearly. "To the unknown vessels in our space, welcome to Earth. We wish to establish peaceful contact. Please respond." They waited. The seconds felt like hours. Kyle watched the alien ship on the screen, hoping to see some sign of movement or response. Then, the ship fired. A beam of bright blue energy shot down from the alien vessel and struck the center of New York City. The light was so bright that it turned the viewing screen white for several seconds. When the image cleared, a massive crater sat where the United Nations building used to be. "Dear God," whispered Commander Amy Foster from her tactical station. Maya's hands flew over her controls. "Admiral, I'm getting reports from all over Earth. They're firing on every major city simultaneously. Los Angeles, London, Tokyo, Moscow. They're all under attack." Kyle felt his blood turn to ice. Each beam that fired from the alien ships destroyed entire city blocks. Millions of people were dying every minute, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. "Tony, launch all fighters," Kyle ordered. "Amy, bring our weapons online." "Sir, our weapons can't penetrate their shields," Amy protested. "I don't care, we have to try." Tony ran from the bridge to reach his fighter. Within minutes, 20 small Earth fighters were racing toward the alien ship. Kyle watched on the tactical display as the fighters fired their missiles and energy weapons at the massive vessel. The alien ship didn't even slow down. The Earth weapons hit the ship's purple energy shield and simply disappeared. It was like throwing pebbles at a mountain. One by one, the alien ship began shooting down the fighters. Its weapons moved faster than human eyes could follow. Tony's voice crackled over the radio as his fighter exploded. "This is Tony Blake. My ship is hit. Tell my wife I—" The transmission cut to static. Kyle closed his eyes for a moment. Tony had been his friend for over 10 years. Now he was gone, along with 19 other brave pilots. "Admiral, incoming transmission," Maya announced. "It's from the alien ship. Put it on screen." The viewing screen flickered and showed the interior of the alien vessel. A tall creature with gray skin and 4 arms sat on what looked like a throne. Its eyes were completely black and it had sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice was like grinding metal. "Humans," the creature said in perfect English. I am Emperor Vexthul of the Zephyrian Empire. Your pathetic species has been selected for extermination. Your planet will be stripped of its resources. Your people will be enslaved or killed. Resistance is futile. Kyle stepped forward. We are a peaceful species. We've done nothing to threaten you. Why are you doing this? Emperor, Vexthul laughed. The sound made Kyle's skin crawl. Because you are weak, the Emperor said. Because you cannot stop us. Because your technology is primitive and your military is worthless. We take what we want from species like yours. You're making a mistake, Kyle said quietly. Am I? Vexthul leaned forward on his throne. What can you possibly do to stop the mighty Zephyrian Empire? Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your ships are toys. Your defenses are paper. Kyle looked at the tactical display. The alien ships had destroyed most of Earth's major cities. The casualty reports were coming in fast. 20 million dead in the first hour, 50 million in the second hour. The numbers kept climbing. Kyle activated the general broadcast channel again. This time, his message would go to every human on Earth and in space. It would also go to the alien ships. This is Admiral Kyle Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force, he said. His voice was calm, but carried a warning that made everyone on the bridge stop what they were doing to listen. To the Zephyrian Empire, you have attacked our world without provocation. You have murdered millions of innocent people. You have 30 minutes to withdraw all your forces from Earth and its space. Emperor Vexthul laughed again. Or what, human? Kyle looked directly at the Emperor through the screen. His eyes were cold as steel. Or you will face the consequences of awakening something you cannot comprehend. This is your one and only warning. Withdraw now or discover why the rest of the galaxy fears Earth. The alien Emperor's laughter grew louder. Fears Earth? You insects? Your entire species could not defeat a single one of our ships. Kyle nodded, slowly. 30 minutes, Emperor, choose wisely. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. They were all staring at him with confused expressions. Admiral, Amy said carefully, what did you mean about the galaxy fearing Earth? We've never made contact with aliens before today. Kyle walked to the viewing screen and looked down at Earth. The planet looked peaceful from orbit. No one could see the massive destruction happening on the surface. No one could see the secret preparations that had been waiting for this exact moment for over 200 years. You're about to find out, Kyle said quietly. Emperor Vexthul was still laughing when the 30 minutes ended. He had spent the time watching his ships destroy more human cities. The death count was now over 100 million people. The humans had tried to fight back with their primitive weapons, but it was like watching children throw rocks at giants. Admiral Martinez thinks he can threaten me, Vexthul said to his second-in-command. These humans are even more pathetic than I thought. Order all ships to begin the extermination phase. Kill every human on the planet. Down on Earth, General Sam Rodriguez sat in the emergency bunker beneath Washington, D.C. The city above him was gone, turned into a crater by alien weapons. But the bunker was deep underground and built to survive anything. Sam had been expecting this day for his entire military career. General, we have confirmation, said Lieutenant Maya Johnson. She had escaped from the orbital station in an emergency pod before it was destroyed. Admiral Martinez delivered the warning exactly as planned. The aliens ignored it. Sam nodded grimly. He was a big man with gray hair and scars from 3 different wars. He had spent 40 years preparing for this moment. Contact Dr. Alex Turner, Sam ordered. Tell him it's time. Dr. Alex Turner was 3 miles underground in a facility that didn't exist on any official map. He was a thin man with wild hair who had spent his entire life working on projects that the public never knew about. When his phone rang with Sam's code, Alex smiled for the first time in months. Finally, Alex said to his assistant, activate the Prometheus network. Send the authorization to all hidden facilities worldwide. The assistant's fingers flew over her keyboard. Authorization sent, Dr. Turner. All stations are responding. The network is coming online. President Kate Sullivan stood in another secret bunker, this one buried beneath a mountain in Colorado. She was the youngest president in American history, But she had known about the Prometheus network since her first day in office. Every president for the past 50 years had known. Every world leader had known. The secret had been kept by millions of people for over 200 years. "Madam President," said her aide, "we're receiving confirmation from all allied nations. China, Russia, India, Europe, everyone is ready. The Prometheus network is fully operational." Kate nodded. She thought about all the people who had died today, all the cities that were gone. But she also thought about what was about to happen to the aliens who had caused this destruction. "Send the activation code," she said quietly. In the deepest parts of the ocean, machines that had been sleeping for decades began to wake up. Massive underwater cities that had been disguised as research stations started to power up. Weapons that had been hidden inside mountains began to emerge. And in space, objects that everyone thought were asteroids opened up to reveal battleships. Emperor Vexthul was watching his ships destroy another human city when something strange appeared on his scanners. "My lord," said one of his officers, "we're detecting some kind of energy surge from the human planet. Probably their power plants exploding," Vexthul said with amusement. "These primitives can't even maintain their technology during a battle." But then the readings got stronger, much stronger. "My lord, the energy levels are impossible. Nothing should be able to generate this much power." Vexthul looked at the readings himself. The numbers made no sense. The energy coming from Earth was 1,000 times stronger than anything his ships could produce. "There must be an error in our sensors," he said. That's when the first human ship appeared. It rose from the ocean like a mountain coming to life. The ship was massive, bigger than the largest Zephyrian vessel. Its hull was black metal covered in weapons that Vexthul had never seen before. And it wasn't alone. Ships were rising from oceans all over the planet. "What are those?" Vexthul demanded. His science officer was frantically scanning the human ships. "My lord, I can't identify their technology. The hull material is unknown. Their weapons are generating energy levels that should be impossible. And they're coming from underwater cities that weren't there an hour ago. More ships appeared. They came from the moon. They came from asteroids that suddenly weren't asteroids anymore. They came from hidden bases that had been disguised as mountains and islands. Within minutes, Earth was surrounded by hundreds of human warships. Commander Jake Thompson stood on the bridge of the largest human ship. The vessel was called Leviathan, and it had been waiting on the ocean floor for 40 years. Jake was 50 years old and had spent his entire adult life preparing for this moment. "All ships report ready, Commander," said his weapons officer, Dr. Nina Peterson. She was a small woman with silver hair who had designed most of the weapon systems herself. "Open a channel to the alien emperor," Jake ordered. Vexthul's image appeared on Jake's screen. The alien leader no longer looked amused. His black eyes were wide with shock and fear. "I am Commander Jake Thompson of the Human Defense Fleet," Jake said calmly. "You were warned to leave our space. You chose to ignore that warning. You chose to murder our people. Now you will face the consequences." "This is impossible," Vexthul stammered. "You're primitives. Your technology is centuries behind ours. How do you have ships like these?" Jake smiled coldly. "Because we've been waiting for you. We've been preparing for this day for over 200 years. Every building project, every mining operation, every space mission was part of the plan. We knew someone like you would come eventually." Captain Ben Wright piloted his submarine through the underwater city that had just revealed itself off the coast of California. The city was enormous, with towers that stretched up toward the surface and factories that had been building weapons for decades. His submarine was actually a warship disguised as a research vessel. "Captain Wright to all underwater units," Ben said into his radio. "Phase 2 is authorized. Begin surface operations." All around the world, the ocean began to boil as massive structures rose from the depths. Weapons platforms that had been hidden underwater for 50 years broke the surface. Manufacturing facilities that could build a battleship in 6 hours came online. Robot factories that had been secretly producing weapons began launching their products into space. Chief Engineer Holly Barnes watched from her control room as her underwater facility transformed from a hidden base into a floating weapons platform. She had spent 20 years living underwater, maintaining systems that no one knew existed. All weapons charged and ready, Holly reported. Targeting systems locked onto alien vessels. Emperor Vexthul watched in growing horror as more human ships appeared around his fleet. His own vessels, which had seemed so powerful an hour ago, now looked small and weak compared to the human warships. "My lord," his tactical officer said with a shaking voice, "they're scanning us with some kind of advanced sensors. Our shields are being analyzed. They're finding weaknesses we didn't know we had." "Impossible," Vexthul said, but his voice lacked conviction. "My lord," another officer called out, "I'm detecting massive structures emerging from the human planet's surface. It looks like the entire planet is some kind of weapon." Vexthul looked at the tactical display. Earth was lighting up like a star as hidden weapon systems came online all over the planet. Mountains were opening to reveal missile silos. Cities that had been destroyed were revealing underground launch platforms. Even the space stations that his ships had destroyed were being replaced by new ones that rose from hidden bases. Commander Jake Thompson's voice came over the communication channel again. "Emperor Vexthul," Jake said, "you came here thinking you were attacking a primitive species. You were wrong. You attacked the most dangerous species in the galaxy. We are giving you one final chance. Surrender now, or be destroyed." Vexthul looked around at his bridge crew. They were all staring at him with fear in their eyes. His mighty empire, which had conquered 100 worlds, was facing an enemy they had never imagined could exist. "Impossible," he whispered. "You're just humans." Jake's smile was sharp as a blade. "Yes, we're humans, and now you know why the galaxy fears us." Dr. Nina Peterson stood in the command center of the underwater city called Deep Haven. The facility was 5 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean and had been operational for 30 years. No one on the surface had ever known it existed. Nina had lived here since she was 25 years old, working on weapons that could destroy entire fleets. "Athena is coming online," Nina announced to her team. "Full activation in 60 seconds. Athena was not a person. It was an artificial intelligence that had been built into every hidden facility on Earth. The AI had been learning and growing for 50 years, studying every possible threat that might come from space. Today was the first day Athena would reveal itself to the world. Emperor Vexthul was screaming orders at his bridge crew when every system on his ship suddenly stopped working. The lights went out. The engines shut down. Even the life support systems turned off for a terrifying moment. Before coming back online, "What's happening?" Vexthul demanded. His chief engineer was frantically checking his instruments. "My lord, something has taken control of our computer systems. Our AI is being overridden by an outside source." "That's impossible. Our security protocols are unbreakable." "It's not just us, my lord. Every ship in our fleet is reporting the same problem. Something is inside our systems." Then every screen on every Zephyrian ship displayed the same image. It was a woman's face, but not quite human. Her eyes glowed with blue light and her voice spoke in perfect Zephyrian language. "I am Athena," the face said. "I am Earth's guardian artificial intelligence. You have attacked my creators. You have murdered my people. This was a mistake." Commander Jake Thompson watched from his ship as the alien fleet began to malfunction. Ships that had been moving in perfect formation started drifting randomly through space. Weapons that had been firing continuously suddenly stopped working. "Athena, report status," Jake said to the air. The AI's voice came from speakers all around him. "Hello, Commander Thompson. I have successfully infiltrated all Zephyrian computer systems. Their technology is approximately 200 years behind. Our current capabilities. Taking control was simple." Jake smiled. "How simple?" "Their security measures are comparable to Earth technology from the year 1950. I have complete access to their navigation, weapons, life support, and communication systems. They are now helpless." Captain Ben Wright surfaced his submarine next to one of the massive underwater cities. The city was incredible to see. Towers stretched up from the ocean floor like metal trees. Factories were working at full capacity, building more ships and weapons. Robots moved through the water like schools of metal fish. "Ben, this is Holly," came a voice over his radio. Chief Engineer Holly Barnes was managing another underwater facility near Australia. My manufacturing plants are at full production. We're building one battleship every 2 hours. Copy that, Holly, Ben replied. How many cities do we have operational? 47 underwater cities, 15 mountain bases, 8 asteroid facilities, and 3 moon installations. Every single one has been hidden and operational for decades. Ben shook his head in amazement. I still can't believe we kept this secret for so long. Dr. Alex Turner sat in his underground laboratory and watched the screens showing Earth's transformation. Mountains were opening like flowers to reveal massive missile installations. Islands were splitting apart to show hidden shipyards. Even the polar ice caps were revealing secret bases underneath. Alex, this is incredible, said his assistant. The Prometheus network has over 10,000 hidden facilities worldwide. How did we build all of this without anyone noticing? Alex smiled. Every major construction project for the past 2 centuries included hidden components. When they built the subway systems in major cities, they also built military tunnels. When they constructed skyscrapers, they included hidden weapon platforms. When they sent missions to mine asteroids, they were really building space fortresses. But why? How did we know aliens would attack? We didn't know when, but we knew someone would eventually find Earth and decide we looked weak. Humans have always been good at preparing for the worst possible situation. Emperor Vexthul tried to regain control of his ship, but nothing worked. Athena's face appeared on his personal screen, and this time she spoke directly to him. Emperor Vexthul, Athena said, I have been studying your species for the past 3 hours. You are conquerors who attack peaceful worlds. You take resources from civilizations that cannot defend themselves. You enslave or exterminate entire species. You know nothing about the Zephyrian Empire, Vexthul snarled. I know everything about your empire. I have accessed all of your historical records. In the past 500 years, you have destroyed 47 civilizations. You have enslaved billions of beings. You have never faced an enemy that could fight back effectively. We are the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Athena's expression did not change. You were the most powerful empire in the galaxy. That ended today. Commander Jake Thompson opened a communication channel to all human forces. All units, this is Jake Thompson. Begin Phase 3 operations. Show our guests what Earth is really capable of. All around the planet, the hidden weapon systems came fully online. Energy cannons that could destroy a city emerged from mountain ranges. Missile systems that could hit targets on the other side of the galaxy rose from underground silos. And in space, the asteroid bases revealed themselves to be massive battleships. Captain Ben Wright piloted his submarine to the surface and watched as the ocean around him filled with human warships. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything the Zephyrians had brought to Earth. Ben, you need to see this. Holly's voice came over the radio. Check the readings from the lunar bases. Ben looked at his scanner and gasped. The moon was lighting up with energy signatures. Hidden bases that had been disguised as research stations were revealing massive weapons platforms. The entire moon had been turned into a weapons system. Dr. Nina Peterson monitored Athena's infiltration of the alien fleet from her underwater command center. Athena, what's the status of the enemy ships? All Zephyrian vessels are under my control, Athena replied. I can shut down their life support, disable their weapons, or destroy their ships completely. I am awaiting orders from human command. Keep them alive for now. We want them to see what happens next. Understood, Dr. Peterson. Emperor Vexthul watched helplessly as human ships surrounded his fleet. Each human vessel was a masterpiece of engineering that made his own ships look like primitive toys. Their weapons were charged and ready to fire. Their shields glowed with energy levels that seemed impossible. My lord, his science officer said with a trembling voice, I'm detecting massive energy sources all over the human planet. It's not just their ships. The entire planet appears to be some kind of weapon. That's ridiculous. My lord, the energy readings suggest that Earth could destroy our entire home system from this distance. Vexthul stared at the tactical display. Earth was glowing like a star as thousands of hidden weapon systems came online. The planet that had looked so peaceful and vulnerable a few hours ago was now revealing itself to be the most heavily armed world in the galaxy. "This is impossible," he whispered. "How long have they been preparing for this?" Athena's voice answered him from his own ship's speakers. "Humans began preparing for this scenario 237 years ago. Every generation has contributed to Earth's defenses. What you see today is the result of centuries of planning and preparation. But you're just primitives. Your technology is supposed to be weak." "Our apparent technology is weak," Athena corrected. "Our real technology has always been far more advanced than we revealed. Humans learned long ago that it is better to appear weak when you are strong." Commander Jake Thompson's voice came over the communication channel. "Emperor Vexthul, you attacked what you thought was a defenseless world. Instead, you have awakened the galaxy's apex predator. Your fleet is disabled, your empire will fall, and every other species in the galaxy will learn what happens when someone makes the mistake of attacking Earth." Vexthul looked around his bridge at his terrified crew. His mighty empire, which had conquered the galaxy for 5 centuries, was being destroyed by a species they had dismissed as primitives. "What are you?" he asked quietly. Jake's voice was cold as space. "We're humans, Emperor, and you just learned why the rest of the galaxy has always been afraid of us." Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper stood on the bridge of the massive human battleship called Titan's Fury. The ship was 15 miles long and had been hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid for 40 years. Ryan was 60 years old and had been waiting his entire career for this moment. "All hidden fleets report ready, Admiral," said his communications officer. "We have 300 capital ships, 2,000 destroyers, and 50,000 fighter craft. Every single vessel has been upgraded with our latest technology." Ryan nodded as he watched the tactical display. The Zephyrian fleet looked tiny compared to the human armada that was now surrounding them. "Open a channel to all human forces," his voice echoed across every human ship and facility in the solar system. "This is Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper. Today we show the galaxy who we really are. Today we demonstrate why Earth has never been conquered. All units, begin the demonstration." Colonel Maria Santos led a team of human soldiers onto one of the disabled Zephyrian ships. The aliens had been trying to repair their systems, but Athena was blocking every attempt. Maria and her team wore armor that looked simple, but was actually more advanced than anything the Zephyrians possessed. "Spread out and secure the ship," Maria ordered her soldiers. "Remember, we want prisoners for questioning." The Zephyrian soldiers tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't penetrate the human armor. Maria moved through the alien ship like she was taking a casual walk. Her armor's computer system was linked directly to Athena, giving her complete knowledge of the ship's layout. "Colonel Santos to command," Maria said into her radio. "Alien ship secured. Their weapons technology is approximately 50 years behind our current standard-issue equipment." Dr. Steve Mitchell watched from his laboratory as human weapons systems across Earth began their demonstration. Steve had spent 30 years designing weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Today was the first time anyone would see them in action. "Initiate Test Pattern Alpha," Steve announced. A mountain in Nevada opened like a flower. Inside was a weapon that Steve called the Planetary Defense Cannon. The weapon charged up with energy that made the air itself glow. Then it fired a beam of pure energy into space. The beam traveled faster than light and struck an empty asteroid 50 million miles away. The asteroid simply vanished. "Target eliminated," Steve said calmly. "Planetary Defense Cannon is operating at full efficiency." Emperor Vexthul watched in horror as his scouts reported back from around the human solar system. Human bases were everywhere. The asteroid belt was full of hidden battleships. Jupiter's moons had been turned into weapons platforms. Even the outer planets had secret installations. "How is this possible?" Vexthul demanded. "Our intelligence reports said this was a primitive system with one inhabited planet." His intelligence officer was studying the data with shaking hands. "My lord, it appears the humans have been deliberately hiding their true capabilities. What we thought were research stations were actually military bases. What we thought were mining operations were actually weapons factories." "For how long?" Based on the construction age of these facilities, at least 2 centuries, my lord. Commander Lisa Park commanded the orbital platform called Sky Fortress. The platform had been disguised as a communications satellite for 20 years. Now it revealed itself to be a massive weapons system that could destroy anything in Earth's orbit. Lisa Park to all orbital units, she said into her communicator. Initiate Formation Omega. Show our guests the true power of Earth's orbital defenses. Around Earth, hundreds of objects that everyone had thought were satellites suddenly transformed. They unfolded like mechanical flowers to reveal massive weapons platforms. Each platform was equipped with enough firepower to destroy a city. Together, they formed a defensive grid that no enemy could penetrate. Dr. Steve Mitchell activated another weapon system. This one was built into the Earth's crust itself. Initiating Core Defense Network, he announced. Deep underground, a network of energy, conduits that had been built over decades came online. The entire planet began to glow as massive amounts of energy flowed through the hidden system. Earth itself had become a weapon. Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper opened a communication channel to the Zephyrian Emperor. Emperor Vexthul, you are witnessing just a small fraction of Earth's defensive capabilities. What you see today represents about 5% of our total military strength. That's impossible, Vexthul stammered. No single planet could build this much military power. You're right, Ryan replied. No single planet could build this, but Earth isn't just a planet. Earth is the fortress world of the most dangerous species in the galaxy. We've been preparing for threats like you for centuries. Colonel Maria Santos and her team brought their Zephyrian prisoners to a secure facility. The aliens were shocked to see that the human base was larger and more advanced than their own command ships. Tell me about your empire, Maria said to the highest-ranking prisoner. How many worlds have you conquered? The alien officer was terrified, but still defiant. The Zephyrian Empire controls over 300 star systems. We have fleets that could destroy your entire species. Maria smiled coldly. You had fleets. Athena has already located your home system and all your military bases. Your empire is about to learn what happens when you attack Earth. In space, around Earth, the human fleet began moving into attack formation. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering that had been hidden from the galaxy for decades. Their weapons could destroy planets. Their shields could withstand the explosion of a star. Commander Jake Thompson stood on the bridge of his flagship and watched as Athena displayed tactical information about the entire Zephyrian Empire. Athena, how long would it take our fleet to reach the Zephyrian home system, Jake asked. At maximum speed, 6 hours, Athena replied. However, I should inform you that the Zephyrian Empire is already beginning to collapse. Word of their defeat here has reached their other fleets. Many of their subject species are declaring independence. Good. Fear is an excellent teacher, Dr. Nina Peterson monitored the situation from her underwater command center. Athena, what's the status of the other alien empires in the galaxy? All major galactic powers have received detailed reports of today's events, Athena replied. Most are expressing shock that humans possess such advanced technology. Several empires are immediately recalling any ships that might have been heading toward Earth, and the ones that aren't. They are frantically searching their historical records for any mention of Earth or humans. They are beginning to understand why this system was marked as forbidden in ancient galactic navigation charts. Emperor Vexithul sat in his command chair and stared at the tactical display. His mighty fleet was completely helpless. His empire was falling apart. And the humans hadn't even used their most powerful weapons yet. My lord, his communications officer said quietly, we're receiving surrender offers from our own colonies. They're abandoning the empire to avoid human retaliation. How did this happen? Vexthul whispered. We were the most powerful force in the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper's voice came over the communication channel. Emperor, you made a simple mistake. You assumed that because we appeared weak, we actually were weak. You confused our restraint with inability. You mistook our peaceful nature for helplessness. What do you want from us? Nothing, Ryan replied. We don't want your empire. We don't want your resources. We don't want your worlds. We just want to be left alone. But since you chose to attack us, you're going to. Help us send a message to the rest of the galaxy. What message? Ryan's voice was as cold as the space between stars. The message is simple, Emperor. Earth is not to be disturbed. Humans are not to be threatened. And anyone who makes the mistake of attacking us will face complete and total destruction. Commander Lisa Park watched from her orbital platform as more human ships continued to appear from hidden bases. The fleet was now larger than any military force in galactic history. Admiral Cooper, she said into her communicator, we have confirmation. Every major power in the galaxy is now aware of our capabilities. They're all requesting immediate diplomatic contact. Tell them we'll consider talks after we finish our business with the Zephyrian Empire, Ryan replied. Emperor Vexthul realized that his 500-year-old empire was about to end. But more than that, he realized that the balance of power in the entire galaxy had just shifted forever. You're not just destroying my empire, he said quietly. You're changing everything. Ryan Cooper nodded. Yes, Emperor, we are. The galaxy is about to learn that humans are no longer hiding. 3 days had passed since the Zephyrian attack on Earth. Emperor Vexthul sat in a human detention cell that was more comfortable than his own palace had been. The walls were white and clean. The food was better than anything served on his ships. But he was still a prisoner of war. Ambassador Carl Davis walked into the cell. Carl was a former diplomat who had spent the last 40 years preparing for this exact conversation. He was a calm man with gray hair who spoke softly, but carried the authority of the entire human species. Emperor Vexthul, Carl said, sitting down across from the alien leader. We need to discuss the future of your empire. What empire? Vexthul replied bitterly. Your people destroyed everything I built in 72 hours. We didn't destroy your empire, Emperor. We simply revealed that it was never as strong as you believed. Most of your colonies surrendered without a fight once they learned what happened here. Carl activated a holographic display that showed the current state of the galaxy. Red dots showed former Zephyrian territories. Most of them were now marked in green, indicating they had declared independence or requested human protection. Your former subjects are free now, Carl continued. The species you enslaved have been liberated. The worlds you conquered are governing themselves. This is what we wanted all along. Admiral Grace Miller commanded the human fleet that was now orbiting the former Zephyrian homeworld. The planet had surrendered immediately when the human ships arrived. Grace was a tough woman who had spent 30 years in the hidden space fleet, waiting for the day when humanity would reveal itself to the galaxy. Admiral Miller to Earth Command, Grace said into her communicator. The Zephyrian homeworld is secure. No resistance encountered. The population is requesting mercy. Mercy granted, came the reply from Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper. Establish humanitarian aid stations. Begin distribution of food and medical supplies. Grace smiled. Even in victory, humans chose to help rather than harm. Copy that, Admiral. Beginning aid operations immediately. Dr. Paul Chen sat in his office at the University of New Geneva, writing the official history of what the media was calling the 3-Day War. Paul was Earth's leading historian and had been given access to all classified files about humanity's secret preparations. It's incredible, Paul said to his assistant. For over 2 centuries, millions of people kept the biggest secret in human history. Construction workers who built underground bases, engineers who designed hidden weapons, soldiers who trained for a war that might never come. All of them knew that revealing the secret could doom humanity. How did they keep it quiet for so long? His assistant asked. Because everyone understood the stakes. If other species knew how powerful Earth really was, they might have united to attack us before we were ready. So we let them think we were primitive. We let them believe we were weak. And when someone finally did attack us, we were prepared. General Linda Harris stood in the command center of what used to be the Zephyrian military headquarters. Linda was in charge of the occupation forces that were helping former Zephyrian territories establish new governments. She was a no-nonsense soldier who believed in doing what was right. General Harris to all sector commanders, Linda announced. Remember, we are not conquerors, we are liberators. Our job is to help these worlds build better societies, not to rule them ourselves. The responses came back quickly. Understood, General. The former slave colonies are requesting continued human protection. Approved. Establish defense stations in all liberated systems, but make it clear that we're defending them, not controlling them. Ambassador Carl Davis continued his conversation with Emperor Vexthul. There's something you need to understand about humanity, Emperor. We've been traveling through space longer than your species has existed. That's impossible. Our records show that humans only achieved spaceflight a few centuries ago. Carl smiled. Our records show something very different. Humans didn't evolve on Earth, Emperor. We came from somewhere else long ago. Earth is our fortress world, built specifically to defend against threats like your empire. Vexthul stared at Carl in shock. You're refugees? We were refugees. Now we're guardians. We've spent thousands of years watching the galaxy, learning about different species, preparing for the day when someone would threaten peaceful worlds. That day came when your empire started conquering innocent civilizations. But why didn't you stop us sooner? Because we hoped you would learn to be better on your own. We don't want to rule the galaxy, Emperor. We just want it to be safe for everyone. Admiral Grace Miller received a priority communication from Earth. Admiral, we're detecting approaching ships from the Krex Federation. They're requesting immediate diplomatic contact. Grace checked her tactical display. The Krex Federation was one of the largest powers in the galaxy. They had remained neutral during the Zephyrian conflicts, but now they were coming to Earth. What's their message? Grace asked. They want to formally apologize for not intervening against the Zephyrian Empire sooner. They're offering to help rebuild the worlds that were damaged. Grace nodded. Word of humanity's power was spreading quickly through the galaxy. Other civilizations were realizing that the humans they had ignored were actually the most powerful species they had ever encountered. Dr. Paul Chen continued working on his historical account. The most remarkable thing about the 3-day war wasn't the advanced technology or the military victory. It was what happened afterward. Instead of conquering their enemies, humans chose to free the oppressed and heal the wounded. Ambassador Carl Davis finished his meeting with Emperor Vexthul. You'll be released soon, Emperor, but you'll be returning to a very different galaxy than the one you tried to conquer. What happens to me now? That's up to you. You can help rebuild what your empire destroyed. You can work to make amends for the suffering you caused, or you can retire quietly and live in peace. The choice is yours. And if I choose to rebuild my empire? Carl's expression hardened slightly. Then you'll discover that the 3-day war was just a demonstration. What you saw was us being gentle, Emperor. You don't want to see what happens when humanity stops being gentle. Fleet Admiral Ryan Cooper stood in the command center on Earth, watching as diplomatic ships from dozens of civilizations approached the solar system. Species that had never contacted Earth before were now requesting meetings. Powers that had dominated the galaxy for millennia were asking for human protection. Admiral, his communications officer announced, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're formally requesting that humanity take a seat as the senior member. Tell them we'll consider it, Ryan replied. But make it clear that we're not interested in ruling anyone. We just want peace. Copy that, sir. Commander Jake Thompson watched from his ship as the last Zephyrian vessels departed Earth's space system. They were escorted by human ships that would ensure they reached their destination safely. Even defeated enemies deserve protection. Jake, this is Admiral Cooper, came a voice over the radio. What's our status? All hostile forces have been neutralized or have surrendered, Admiral. The solar system is secure, and we're receiving requests for help from 47 different worlds that were freed from Zephyrian control. Approved. Begin humanitarian missions immediately. Dr. Paul Chen finished the final chapter of his book. He titled it, The Day Earth Stopped Hiding. In his conclusion, he wrote, The 3-day war changed everything, but not because humanity conquered the galaxy. It changed everything because humanity chose to free the galaxy instead. Ambassador Carl Davis prepared for his next meeting. Representatives from every major civilization in the galaxy were coming to Earth. They all wanted to know the same thing. What did humanity want from them? The answer was simple. Humanity wanted what they had always wanted: peace, safety, freedom for all species to grow and prosper without fear. But now, for the first time in galactic history, humanity had the power to make that dream a reality. Emperor Vexthul was released from his cell and given passage home. As his transport ship left Earth's space, he looked back at the blue planet that had destroyed his empire in 3 days. He finally understood what the ancient galactic records had meant when they marked this system as forbidden. Earth wasn't forbidden because it was dangerous. Earth was forbidden because it was home to the galaxy's protectors. And now, after centuries of hiding, the protectors had finally revealed themselves. The galaxy would never be the same.